Hola. So I decided for your little extra today that I would do a Charla y Colorea, where I am going to just chat about myself because maybe you give a crap about knowing random things about me. And I'm going to do a nonogram, which is like a crossword but with coloring because it's a thing I like to do. So um, I didn't come up with a bunch of questions. There was a lovely website called 200 Questions to Get to Know Someone. That's kind of loading right now. So I'm going to use a random number generator and I'm going to do some questions. And I'm going to try to do them in Spanish and English because this is ostensibly Spanish practice. Vamos. So let's see here. If I tell it 200, because it says there's 200, I think there's actually like 208, but whatever. 152, 152. Vamos. 152. Si eres la sola humana, se queda en el mundo, ¿qué harías? What would I do if I were the last person on Earth? Well, I mean, I think we're going to all cry if that's the thing that happens to us anyway. First, because, I mean, if you're literally it, like, it's not you and somebody else, it's not you and a small band of survivors, like, okay, the species dies now. like even if you're like expecting, species is not going to last. So it's not a good situation no matter the scenario. Trying to see if this has enough. It does not. Oh, come on, thing. Give me an easy one. But I think once I got past the just abject horror that this is the end of the human race, I would hopefully like spend my time trying to appreciate what was left of humanity. I mean, like, read good books and I don't know if, you know, movies and things work in this post-apocalyptic world, but I mean, like, I would hope I wouldn't just despair and instead would, trato de disfrutarme uh, con las cosas bellas de la humanidad. It's just more difficult than you would think. Vamos. 55. Bien. Ah. ¿Qué es la mejor manera que una persona puede pasar su tiempo? What's the best way someone can spend their time? This is tough because I think it depends on where you're at in your life. I really do believe that when you're younger, spending time on self-development and like growing your brain and being active and all those things, like that's all very important. And it's okay, especially en cuando tienes 20 años o algo como eso. Es bastante bien ser un poquito, puedo pensar en la palabra selfish, egoísta. It's okay to be a little selfish in your 20s if it means you figure yourself out in a significant way, because honestly, the most important thing you're going to do is figure out how you work and what makes you tick. And the reason that's so important is you really can't do anything else in this world if you don't have a clue what you need to be para estar feliz, para estar una persona buena, etc. Like, what do you need to be a happy person? What do you need to be a good person? Because let's just be honest, if we don't have certain things in our life, none of us are our best. So Buena, buena. I need to do just a little bit of this before I move to the next one. 13, 18. Está bien. Bien. Ok. Vamos. 34. ¿Cuándo fue la última vez que subiste un árbol solo por divertido? No sé. I don't know the answer to this question. It has been a long time since I climbed a tree. Cuando yo era niña, en mi casa, había dos árboles en nuestra jardín que una persona puede subir. Y una era muy corto, era muy bajo. Entonces no era muy interesante para subir. Puedes hacerlo, pero no hay más, no hay mucho. Pero la otra tiene un lugar donde persona puede sentarte y leer era más como un hideout. Buena. So there were two trees in my yard when I was a kid that were what you would consider climbable. Like there were other trees, but they were not climbing trees. The one, it wasn't real, like you got in it and there just wasn't far to go. The other one though had like a really good, like it almost had grown in a way that it had almost a seat, and I would try to read up there, but it had kind of a hangout feel. Like you really felt like you were pulling something off by getting up in that tree and, taking something up with you, and just felt like you had conquered something. I don't think I have climbed a tree since I was probablemente tenía 12, 13 años. Somewhere in like my junior high years was probably when I stopped. To be fair, those trees did like get cut down, not all the way cut down, but they got cut way back at one point and such. But yeah, they're right that you don't tend to climb a tree for any like fun reason. I think the other thing is like the older you get, the more you're like, will that tree support my like weight, and will it like I don't want to die today kind of thing. So, buena. Próximo. 189. 189. I'm going to hit save so it doesn't lose it. 189. Vamos. Si era forzada revivir un bloque de 10 minutos de tu vida siempre, 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 por toda eternidad, ¿qué 10 minutos escogías? What 10-minute block would I relive? I think any 10-minute block would probably not be enjoyable for all time. I can't think of a specific 10 minutes, pero probablemente es difícil. I'm assuming with this question that you experience the people that would be in it in the same way that you did at the time. So either 10 minutos con amigos buenos or posiblemente con un ex novio or algo. I would probably spend it, I'd pick a 10-minute period where I was really enjoying time with friends or really enjoying time with an ex-partner, with the assumption, like I said, like there's a reason they're my ex. Like there's a reason we're not together. But what I'm assuming is, in this case, that, God darn it, gatita, that that you think about them the way you did then because you're spending that time with them. By the way, I don't know if I can make it see. Yeah, it won't show up, but my coffee totally says "Como se llama" and has llamas on it because my friends are funny and found me an awesome mug. Buena. And Gatita is not happy that she is not getting all of the attention because that's how she works. It's totally how she works. 17, 18, 1. Buena. This is probably terribly exciting for you. I'm doing such a great job of multitasking. I really thought it would be easier than this. I vastly overestimated my abilities. All right, let's see what I get in just, let's see here. Buena, buena. Buena, buena. Vamos. We'll do a few more. If I don't finish the picture, it'll be fine. 74. Ooh, that went too far. What could you give a... ¿Qué puedes presentar por 40 minutos sin preparación? I mean, obviously, in a way, I give 40-minute presentations all the time. So it's like, okay, I've had no... obviously I've prepared before, but like I give 40-minute presentations on Spanish grammar and things all the time. Pero let's just assume I can't do anything I teach on, because that will make this more interesting. Probablemente. I don't know. I'm struggling. I might do, could talk about Sherlock. God, I love that show. Love the whole thing. I'm trying to think something more fun like that, but I know there are lots of things. Like, unfortunately, I'd probably go very, let me teach you about life and let me tell you my opinions on something, or like why I think you should look at something a certain way. Honestly, probablemente para mí depende de la conversación que yo he terminado antes de esta, porque tengo muchos intereses, entonces lo que yo he hablado más recientemente estaba en mi mente, entonces yo presenté esa. Probably it would depend on like whatever conversation I had just finished, because I have a lot of interest. I won't claim I'm an expert on anything. I mean, I won't claim I'm just an expert in general, but I'm certainly not an expert on everything, but I know a lot about a lot of things, or I at least know enough to pull off a 40-minute presentation on a lot of things. And so if I had just been talking to somebody, it'd be like whatever topic we happen to have been just talking about, I could do. Like, I could talk a lot about Latin art history right now after doing the Español 3 unit, but I'm not like an art person in general. Buena. Let's see here. Let's see here. Okay. Bueno. We'll do 3 más. 145. What bends your mind every time you think about it? Ooh. De verdad, el tiempo y si es real o no. the idea that idea of just time in general and whether it's actually like a real like physical thing, like in terms of physics, like is this something we've made up to explain like how we perceive our experience, or is it like a real like thing that is affecting the universe in its own right? And if that is the case, like what does that mean in terms of, is like, podemos viajar por tiempo? Could we travel through time? Because like in general, I don't think time travel is possible. Like I actually think it's probably an impossibility just by the nature of what it is. Pero si el tiempo es un concepto real, like if it's like really a thing, the way gravity is a thing, the way like air resistance is a thing, then that changes everything. That completely changes whether or not we can travel through time. Um, there's some other thing I can't think of right now. I think the other fact, la idea subjetiva, de la realidad subjetiva, like the idea of subjective reality, que tú y yo no estamos teniendo la misma experiencia de nada. Like none of us are having the exact same experience as anybody else. We're all experiencing everything on our own terms, which means that really there is nothing we 100% understand about somebody else. Por ejemplo, hace unos años, cuando había la idea de el vestido con, oro, es dorado y azul, o es, yo no recuerdo, rosado y algo más. Like they were asking what color was that dress. Everybody remember el vestido, the dress? But part of that is like none of us are seeing two colors like exactly the same. And like, yeah, I understand they were trying to explain like some people are seeing it this way and this way, and of course filters have an effect and everything else. Pero like what I call verde or what I call azul, like you and I might not quite agree on where the boundaries of that are. And that's very interesting to me. Like everyone has a different, like I remember I was having like a solid argument with my linguistics professor because she kept calling this color blue. And I'm like, it is not blue. Like it was definitively like a teal green. And I'm like, dude, it's like green. It's green. But like she would not hear it at all. And I do think that's just partly like we all see things obviously through our own eyes, but because of the fact that we literally all have different lenses going on, we're not seeing exactly the same thing. Buena, 122. ¿Qué es la lección más grande que nunca aprendí? What's the biggest lesson you never learned? Oh, geez. Like, I guess this kind of depends on how they're interpreting it. It's like what they're putting under here is like what they value, or at least how stubborn they are. Like if we're going to get all emotional, it's probably I'm terrible about really setting boundaries, fronteras. I'm really bad about it. And I'm really bad about like just getting through my head, okay, amistad requiere que dos personas ayudan una a otro. Se ayudan. Like friendship requires two people helping each other. And if it is constantly one person is doing all the giving, then that is just not a healthy friendship, and you need to move on. And that may sound silly. Like some of you are probably going like, yeah, for real. Like that's like grade school stuff. But I was raised to believe that you are supposed to, you're just supposed to keep giving and you shouldn't expect anything in return for giving. Like, giving should be done with no expectation of a return. And I think when we're talking about like charity and when we're talking about like my work, like I obviously want things from you guys and I want you to do well, but I don't do what I do with any expectation because that's not how this works. Like, I choose to teach, I choose to be in this profession. I give because that is what I choose to do. And what you guys give back or what you do, that's all great, but that is not why I do it. Ooh, I made a mistake. Where did I mess up? Oh, okay. I can't count. Oh, I'm in the wrong column. That's why. I thought I was in this column. Um, so anyhow, the good news is I now know that there are 3 there and that one is totally a red. Ha ha ha. But like I am not great with uh understand, like if you're gonna have a long-term relationship with somebody, whatever kind of relationship, friendship, like romantic relationship, whatever, those relationships require reciprocity, and if they don't have them, you probably shouldn't be in them because uh let me see here. Because they're just not healthy. I mean, they're not good for you. They're not good for the other person. Like, because you just end up being resentful at some point. Buena, buena. Last one. And then maybe I'll pause it, finish it, and show you what the picture looks like. 184. ¿Qué es una opinión o creencia muy fuerte que tienes, pero es completamente no importante en todo? What opinion do I like? What's a really strong opinion I have that is completely unimportant in the grand scheme of things? I think that's a really hard thing to like say because I think in general, if you have a strong opinion, you tend to think uh, like that matters. Like you wouldn't hold it if it wasn't something you thought was important. Um, I'm trying to think off the top of my head, like what are some things? Um, no sé exactamente. Like I believe in soulmates, and I suppose that ultimately doesn't matter. Like it matters to me, but it probably doesn't matter otherwise. But I wouldn't like get into a fight over it, like kind of thing. Um, hmm. I'm not sure. Like I'd have to really like think of like different beliefs I have. Like if we're talking just on like a silly scale, I definitely am like most people and think there is one way to organize a kitchen. Like there's one way to do these things. And when somebody else wants to organize it differently, it drives me insane. And I'm like, how? How do you even remotely think that's okay? No, that's not how that works. It's not how it works. Not at all. All right, I'm going to pause. I'm going to finish this thing and then I'm going to let you see the end. All right, and you can see the final product, which is supposed to be like a dinosaur chomping something, which I'd like to point out. Normally, I don't get ones that are this tricky. It was actually quite difficult. So, there you go. Finished product. Ten un buen día. Adios.